is that there's been a wrongful death suit, and it was launched very, very quickly. Tell me about it.
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, I saw no reason to wait whatsoever. This could very well be the easiest case that I've handled in my entire career.
Why is that?
The crime was committed. Well, the crime was committed. He admitted to it, and now it's just a question of whether his insurance company is going to step up to the plate or whether I'm going to take a judgment against him and go before a jury and have them determine the amount of the damages. But I'm feeling pretty good about this case, Ashley.
So it's so odd because typically, a wrongful death, you would have some kind of player, but the victim of this would be the recipient typically of whatever money he had. But the word is, Adam, that he had financial difficulties, and your client, the victim's mom, found some evidence of that prior to the death, correct?
Yes, our understanding, we've heard some rumblings about that, but and once I get the judgment against him, I'm going to have a free rein to serve subpoenas all over the country and all over the world and find out exactly where his assets were, where he was hiding them, if he was hiding them. But I can tell you that I am going to reach to the ends of the earth to find every last penny that this monster had.
Well, that could take some time. I rarely quote figures in the billions when I'm dealing with murder stories, but in this one, we've been told that he was overseeing at some point $1.4 billion worth of assets as a manager. He was the president and CEO of his own company. I think it was called Grazioli Asset Management. I don't know if that $1.4 billion spanned, the entire 20 years of his career, but what do you know about his money and about his management and how much he'd actually made and whether some of it might be hiding somewhere?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Ashley, I'm certainly going to find out. As soon as I get that judgment against him, I'm going to start serving subpoenas. We have private investigators actually looking into it right now as we speak, but we're going to leave no stone unturned whatsoever. And this is just, it's bizarre. I published a legal thriller a few years ago, and the facts weren't as bizarre as this, and that was fiction.
This writes itself. It is odd, to say the very least. We're talking about real people here, and Amanda's dead, and she's a beautiful, beautiful bride from only October. It's hard to believe that we're talking about a wedding that just occurred in October. But her mom must be just, while she's dealing with the legal ramifications in the wrongful death suit, she's also missing her daughter. How is she?
Yes. Well, it's not just her mother, Denise. Amanda was very, very, very close to her siblings, Allison and Vanessa and Brandon, and close to her father, Tom, as well. Very, very close-knit family, and this is just tragic. And they're picking up the pieces right now. And
did she say anything to them? Did she warn any of them? I mean, it's such an odd story to hear in the honeymoon phase that a murder happens. Did she ever suggest anything was wrong, either financially, that things were getting tight, or that she and her husband were having difficulty in the bedroom, or that he was unfaithful or unhappy? Did she say anything?
No, I mean, we're looking at the evidence after the fact, but no, prior to this ungodly crime being committed, no, there was no sense of that whatsoever.
It's just it's an unbelievable mystery. I will say this, after he went to the priest, and if anybody's wondering, because the smart Catholics will know your priest is never allowed to say a word of confession. This was not your official confession. It was said in an office, and it didn't involve the right kind of wording, which, protects it with privilege, and that's why the priest was free to actually report this to the authorities. He wasn't done talking, though. After church, he was taken by the police, who showed up at the church, right down to the police station, and he sat for an interview with the police as well. Real quickly, here's what he told one of the local police officers.
He admitted to involvement in the incident, but he wasn't totally clear on the circumstances that occurred.
Adam, that is a very strange comment. He admitted to involvement, but wasn't clear on the circumstances. Do you know any more about what that means? I mean, meaning I blacked out, I woke up, she was bloody beside me, or I'm just not talking?
My understanding now is that is going to be his defense, that he somehow blacked out, which is absolutely ludicrous. But again, I do not think, we have the utmost faith in the district attorney's office, and we are quite confident there's going to be a conviction, and we're also quite confident in our civil case as well. But that certainly sounds like an admission to me.
A couple of admissions. Parag Shah, real quickly, just the whole incident. I mean, we're looking at two confessions, one to a priest, one that seemingly sounds like a confession to the police, and then another one which seems pretty clear from an ex-wife, may have a dog in the fight, may not. So, you know, criminally speaking, it looks like a very difficult case to win. But Parag, as another lawyer, how difficult do you think the wrongful death would be?
I don't think the wrongful death is going to be very difficult because the standard is different. In a criminal case, the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. In the civil case, they only have to prove by preponderance, which is if you're looking at a football field, he just has to cross the 50-yard line. So I don't think the wrongful death is going to be a problem. And frankly, this is a bad case for the defense, and I think it shouldn't be a problem for the prosecution as well.
A lot of bad facts, as you say, in the business, but then a lot of interesting sort of details that we still don't know. Adam, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Parag, I'm going to ask you to stay on as well, and my thanks to Kyle Peltz for his great reporting on the story. A beautiful mother of four